Okay, so let's talk about something that can be a huge headache for anyone dealing with US taxes from abroad. The ITIN application. It feels like this black box, right? Well, today we're going to pry it open. We're going to break down that official timeline, sniff out the hidden risks you need to know about, and most importantly, look at the actual data on how to get it right the first time. So let's dive in. So, what's the first thing on everyone's mind? It's always this, right? How long is this really going to take? You've done all the hard work. You've got your tax return, your documents are all lined up, but everything just stops, waiting on this one big question mark. The official answer? Well, it's not as simple as you think. And the real answer? That's where things get interesting. All right, here it is. The official number from the IRS, 7 to 11 weeks. But, and this is a big but, you see that little asterisk, that tiny star? That's where all the trouble, all the frustration, and all the gotchas are hiding. Think of that 7 to 11 week window as just the opening chapter, not the whole book, not by a long shot. Okay, before we go any further, let's just do a quick reset on what an ITIN even is. Super simple. It's a 9-digit number the IRS uses for taxes. That's it. It's not a social security number. It has nothing to do with your immigration status, and it doesn't let you work in the US. Its only job is to make sure you can file your taxes correctly if you don't have an SSN. Got it? Good. So here's our game plan. First, we'll pull apart that official timeline. Next up, we'll look at the things that can act like accelerators and the things that can slam on the brakes. Then we're going to focus on the single biggest risk in this whole shebang. After that, we'll talk about the smart way to handle this using an intermediary. And finally, we'll walk through what happens after you apply. Let's do it. All right, section 1, let's really get into that 7 to 11 week number. Here's the first thing you absolutely have to understand, and it's a game changer. You think you're waiting on one timeline, right? Nope. You're actually juggling two totally separate clocks, and they're both ticking. And here they are. Clock number 1, that's your 7 to 11 weeks. That's just for the IRS to tell you, hey, we've made a decision. But then there's clock number 2. This one is just for getting your original documents back. We're talking about your passport, your birth certificate, and the IRS says that can take up to 60 days. That's 2 whole months. This is a huge deal, and trust me, we're going to circle back to it. Okay, so now that we know about the 2 clocks, let's talk about what makes that first clock tick faster or slower. Think of these as the accelerators and the brakes on your application. These are the things that can either put you in the fast lane or get you stuck in a major traffic jam. So what are these big factors? Well, first off, timing is everything. If you apply during the chaos of tax season, mid-January to the end of April, boom, you're pretty much guaranteed to be waiting on the longer side, like 9 to 11 weeks. Applying from overseas, go ahead and tack on another 2 to 4 weeks. But you know what the real timeline killer is? A simple mistake. An incomplete form, a wrong document, that triggers a notice from the IRS and your application just grinds to a halt. So what's the secret to speed? It's pretty simple, really. A perfect application sent in during the off-season. And that leads us right into what is, hands down, the scariest part of this whole process. I'm talking about the documentation bottleneck. And listen, this isn't just about being annoyed by a delay. This is about the very real, very terrifying risk of losing something you absolutely cannot replace, your original documents. And look, don't just take my word for it. This is straight from the horse's mouth, the IRS's own instructions. They're telling you, flat out, hey, if you need your passport for anything in the next 2 months, you might want to rethink this. Think about that. No travel, no official business, nothing. Sending that passport in the mail isn't just an inconvenience. It can be a massive real-world problem. And if you're thinking, oh, that won't happen to me, think again. This isn't just some theoretical risk. A report from the Taxpayer Advocate Service found that just last year, in 2023, the IRS literally destroyed almost 8,000 taxpayer documents. Why? because they couldn't get back in touch with the applicant. Just imagine that. Your passport, your birth certificate, poof, gone. That's what's at stake here. So where does all this risk come from? It starts right here with the Form W-7. The instructions are clear. You have to mail in your original priceless identity documents right along with your tax return. Unless an exception applies. And that little phrase, unless an exception applies, that's the secret escape hatch. That's the key to dodging this bullet entirely. Okay, so how do you get out of this mess? How do you manage this crazy risk? It all comes down to a single choice: how you decide to apply. This isn't just about filling out a form, it's about strategy. And this is where using an authorized agent can be a total game changer. Basically, you've got 3 doors to choose from. Door number 1, you mail everything in yourself. We already know that's the high-risk, white-knuckle option. Door number 2, you can try to snag a super rare appointment at an IRS office and have them check your documents in person. Good luck with that. Or there's door number 3. You use an agent who's authorized by the IRS. But here's the catch. You have to know that not all agents are the same. And this is the single most important distinction you need to understand. On one hand, you have a regular acceptance agent, an AA. They're helpful, they'll prep your paperwork, but you still have to mail in your original passport. You're still facing all that risk. But on the other hand, you have a certifying acceptance agent, a CAA. This is totally different. They are authorized by the IRS to be the verifier. They look at your passport, they stamp a copy saying, yep, this is real, and then they hand your passport right back to you, immediately. Your documents never go in the mail, they never even leave your site. And look, the numbers don't lie. This is about way more than just peace of mind. Check out this data from the Taxpayer Advocate Service. It's actually jaw-dropping. If you don't use a certifying acceptance agent, if you go it alone or use a regular AA, your application has a 27% chance of being rejected. Let that sink in. More than 1 out of every 4 people get rejected. Now look what happens when you do use a CAA. The rejection rate falls off a cliff down to just 12%. Let me just put that another way so it's crystal clear. Using a certifying acceptance agent makes it over twice as likely that your application will be accepted. It literally cuts your risk of rejection by more than half. I mean, if you're looking for the one single thing you can do to get this right the first time and avoid all the headaches, this is it. The data says it all. Okay, last section. Let's fast forward. You've sent your application in. Now what? You're going to be waiting for a letter from the IRS, and it's basically going to be one of 3 things. Knowing how to decode these notices is absolutely crucial for what comes next. Here's the breakdown. The one you want to see is the CP 565. That's the good news. It means congratulations, you have an ITIN, you're done. Then there's the CP 566. Think of this as a warning shot. It means the IRS needs something else from you, and you have to respond right away, or they'll just reject the whole thing. And finally, the one you dread, the CP 567. That's the bad news. It means you've been rejected, and you have to figure out what went wrong and start this entire nightmare all over again from square one. So all of this leaves us with one last really important question to think about. We all want to save money, right? But when you add it all up, the massive risk of getting rejected, the months of delays, and the terrifying possibility of losing your passport forever, is that cheapest option of mailing it in yourself really the cheapest? Or could it end up being the most expensive mistake you ever make? Based on everything we've seen, the answer seems pretty clear.